Welcome back. I'm Chris Kirshner. Revenge, redemption, whatever you call it. Tomorrow's battle against UConn in the Final Four will be an all-out war. December 2nd, 2013 is etched in both of these teams' minds. Huskies point guard Shabazz Napier misses the jumper inside the arc, gets the tip back, puts it up, ball game. Gators lose. That would be the last time Florida would hear those words. And how sweet would it be to avenge that loss to clinch a berth in the championship? Florida enters the contest on a 30-game win streak. 3 other teams enter the Final Four, but the streak just as long. Those teams, however, couldn't win it all. WFT Zone Corey Brooks is live at Jerry World covering the Final Four for us. Corey, Florida had its final open practice before tomorrow's game today. What did you see from the Gators?
Well, Chris, they looked pretty good, but it was just a shoot around. They didn't do anything in particular, but that's really their goal. All weekend they've been telling us, and we met with them again today before practice, they want it to be a nameless opponent. They don't want to focus on the fact they're playing Shabazz Napier or Boatwright. They just want to go out there and win another game and play in the final. And as for the big storyline of adapting to the shooting here at AT&T, they said they're feeling pretty good. They're getting used to it. Today's shoot-around only made that even better.
And Corey, what matchup do you see tomorrow, the biggest matchup on the court?
I mean, obviously, Chris, the one you have to look at is Shabazz Napier versus Scotty Wilbekin, the battle of the point guards. Shabazz has made this UConn team go all year long, so that's one you obviously have to look at. But the bigger one that people aren't looking at, and they should, is Patrick Young versus the Huskies' big men. Billy Donovan told us yesterday, this is a team that scores 1 through 5. They have talent there. Pat's going to have to play defense, and on the other end, he's going to have to contribute with his usual 10 points as well. So that's one you're going to want to look at, in addition to all the big-time guards.
Thanks a lot, Corey. The top-ranked Florida gymnastics team is fighting to make its way into its own championship tournament. My bad, sorry, wrong story there. We're going to switch it up. The other Final Four matchup features 2 teams Florida's already familiar with. The Kentucky Wildcats, the team that had 40-0 t-shirts printed before the season because they were that confident that they would win it all. The team that had 10 losses this season. The team that is actually playing like their preseason #1 ranking would suggest is now 1 game away from a championship berth. Their opponent, Wisconsin, has arguably been the most dominant team this tournament. They're beating opponents by a 16-point margin in the tourney. Wisconsin, along with UConn, are the only teams to beat the Gators this season. If the Badgers were to win it, it would be the ultimate revenge tour for the Gators. And now on to Gator gymnastics. Another Gator team is also fighting to make its way into its own championship tournament. The top-ranked Florida Gators gymnastics team is the only team in its regional field to make it to the 2013 NCAA championships. As you probably know, the Gators won their first national championship last season. If Florida were to get a top 2 finish in the regionals tomorrow, they would advance to the semifinals. In its last series, Florida baseball swept the 4th-ranked LSU Tigers. And no joke, the Gators lost to Florida Atlantic on April Fool's Day. This team has been consistently inconsistent this season. The Gators look to turn it around as they travel to Kentucky for a 3-game series. On the mound tonight for UF, sophomore Eric Handhold. Even with the inconsistencies, Florida is tied atop the SEC standings. First pitch tonight is scheduled for 6:30. Over on the women's side, the softball team had an 8-year streak running until Wednesday night. FSU topped the Gators for the first time in 8 years, and Florida has dropped 5 of their last 6. Senior Hannah Rogers has not looked like her usual self lately. She's given up 15 runs in her last 5 appearances, and overall the pitching staff has given up just over 6 runs per game in its recent skid. They look to turn the ship around when they welcome in Auburn tonight. And back to Gator basketball. I'll actually be in Dallas for the game tomorrow.
Wow, well, you're in Dallas. I'll be at Midtown. You can catch me there, Amanda. You better join me.
I'll be here in Gainesville, so we'll see. More news after the break. Stay with us.